Alright, so we got another year of E3 in the books. I have been taking digital notes with my new Surface Pro 4 Ultra Edition. That's actually a picture that I took. I've actually been doing a lot of, well, I'll show you. Lots of notes, as you can see, and this is one note, and I use the stylus. This is actually how I've been taking E3 notes this year. Yeah. So I've been really keeping up on the conferences with everything crazy going on here. This is a hectic year. I usually do all 6 full-length recap videos, but you know, it's just too crazy this year. I haven't had time. And what's YouTube gonna do? Take away all my views anyway and leave me with like 50 views when I have like in the thousands? So they're big pieces of shit. But now this year what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go over the notes here. I've been really reading all these and figuring out what I wrote down and who I think really won E3 this year. Because, you know, if you think about it, that's the big thing, right? That's the big question. Who won E3? It means a lot. It's a title that, you know, is very true, near and dear to the publisher, to the company. Because how did you do in one of the world's biggest gaming conventions of the year? Let's face it. I know we have PAX East and Gamescom and a lot of these other gaming conventions, but let's face it, E3 is the big one. These other conventions are coming up and getting bigger, and they're waiting to announce a lot of stuff at them. And then they have like PlayStation Experience, like I said, Gamescom gets bigger and bigger. But in reality, the real big one at E3 is the real big convention is E3, and who won, who showed their stuff out, you know. Overall, this was an interesting E3 because I don't think anybody really blew it out of the park. Now, with that being said, I don't think anybody did bad either. I think that everybody did pretty good. I do have a full-length recap for EA. I did that when I had some downtime. But, like, Microsoft had a good conference, but didn't blow it out of the park. Sony, really interesting. Had a good conference. They cut the bullshit. Sean Layden took the stage like twice. They didn't have anybody coming on stage. No speeches. Games. And on theory, on paper, that's a 10 out of 10. But I didn't leave their conference either feeling that they blew it out of the park. Ubisoft, hats off. You surprised us. You did really good. Hats off to Ubisoft. I thought they did a great show. EA was average. You know, Microsoft, Sony, Bethesda, I thought they did good, decent. I don't see why Bethesda really couldn't fit that into another press conference of another, you know, Microsoft or Sony, but they got their own, and they've been doing that now the past few years, and you know what, hats off to them. It was good. Nintendo's E3 Direct, I liked it. I liked it a lot, but that's because I'm a Nintendo lover. But I don't think anybody, you know, baseball, bat, and ball blew it out of the park. You know what I mean? There were years where we were bowing down to Sony. There were years that we were bowing down to Nintendo, to Microsoft. And, you know, I'm looking at my quick notes here. And I don't think that nobody had a bad conference, and that's always what you want. But nobody had, you know, blow it out of the park, oh my God, I'm dying concert. My opinion. And it's the opinion of many people this year. I've talked to a lot of gaming journalists. I'm friends with a lot of people on Twitter. I'm very close with the whole scene. IGN, GameSpot. You know, kind of funny. Good friends with all them. Angry Joe. And, you know, they even said, hey, you know, Murray and Jay Wait, you know, we agree with you. So, somebody's got to win, right? And like I said, I'm work hard, man. Even with everything going on. I mean, I'm getting married. I got a wedding coming up. Moving into a new place here. I've been doing a lot of photo shoots. I've been doing a lot of fashion shoots. I've been working in New York City. I have my own eBay store. There's a lot going on. Next year, E3 will go back to normal, full coverage. But this year it was crazy, and I had to watch and sit. Sometimes I had to sit and watch some of these press conferences 4 or 5 a time out of a night. I mean, I was only really able to catch a few live. The rest I had to watch. I had to binge watch, and then I had to write down. I mean, look at this. Thank God for this sick tablet that I got here, the Surface Pro, because I got the stylus, and I was able to write down all the notes, keep them digital, and then I could just go through them. Like, for example, Microsoft's intro starts out with montage through the years. It all leads to this. Ultra 4K HD. Phil Spencer takes the stage. No power greater than X. The Xbox One X is the name. Comes out November 7th, blah, blah, blah. Sony opens up with the usual live music performance band. Uncharted The Lost Legacy shown. Sony audio sucked ass, I put, because no matter what channel you were on, the stream was kind of in and out. Horizon Zero Dawn DLC, The Frozen Wilds, coming 2017. New Days Gone gameplay shown. Ubisoft, Dancers on Stage, a Dancing Panda, Just Dance 2018. Showing off how VR game Transference is coming to 2008, spring. South Park, The Fractured Butthole shown. Blah, blah, blah. And basically, Nintendo, Mario plus Rabbids announced. Rocket League's coming to Switch. New gameplay of Mario Odyssey. Yoshi 2018, a new Metroid Prime 4 is coming out. Yeah, buddy! But I'm just saying, it's a lot of work covering E3. You got to be on Twitter, you got to be on social media, and you know what? It's a conference. It's something that we have to cover if we're gaming people. It's like being into football and not watching the Super Bowl. It's like, when I was big into doing workshops for Adobe, it's like if I didn't attend a Photoshop World, I was like out of the loop. It's part of your trade. It's part of what you're supposed to do. And a lot is announced at E3. And it's like, and you're into video gaming on YouTube and people are talking about games and you're like, huh? You don't know how many YouTubers I watch that are gaming YouTubers and they don't know what the hell you're talking about or what games were announced. I don't want to be that guy. So I definitely took the time and really, really researched everything and wrote notes. So I have a good understanding about E3 and who wins each year, and my opinions are not biased. I'm not a fanboy. I never was. I've been doing YouTube gaming since 2008. All right. When I was a kid, before YouTube was a thought, I used to have my mom with a camcorder behind me when I was on my old black and white TV or whatever TV I had, playing my NES and Atari, and she used to record me because she used to get a kick out of my reactions. I've been playing video games my entire life. That's for real, my entire life. And I never really made it big or blew up, but I was around before all these big idiots now. You got all these idiots that are at game conferences that don't even know about video games. They're just, because they're view whores and they suck in a lot of ad revenue, they get sent to all these events. I know more than they do in their one pinky. So I have a good understanding of what's up. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think that anybody blew it out of the park, but somebody has to win. I think everybody did good. I was happy. Even EA, Microsoft, Bethesda, Sony, Ubisoft, Nintendo, I thought everybody did good. I thought they cut a lot of BS out, and I could tell from all these conferences they really listened to the viewers. And hats off to that. That's awesome. That means a lot to me. Everybody should be commended for really, really doing a great job this year at E3. But I'm going to sum it up really quick because I have to pick a winner. I'm not biased. Like I said, I love Sony. I love Microsoft. I love Nintendo. I own every system since the first video game system ever came out. I have a museum. I buy retro consoles. I have everything. Imports, whatever, I own. Okay? I have tubs and rooms filled with video game memorabilia. You see these big YouTubers with their giant video game gaming rooms. I could blow them out of the water. It would take me days to show off one collection. So I've been around and I understand that every competition, every competitor against each other is going to fight for the crown. I get it. Right? You're just a video game company to me. I don't take sides. So I say this. Let's knock off EA. They're out. I mean, they did alright, but they were average. I think I mentioned it in my reactions. Let's see. we'll go to Bethesda. I thought Bethesda did good. Everybody was saying, "Oh, Bethesda has such a strange E3 press conference." No, it wasn't. It wasn't strange, and I couldn't believe the people that were saying this. It's typical Bethesda. Come on, guys. You play Fallout. You know their whole theme and everything. There's nothing weird about it. It was classic Bethesda, and I thought they did great. But did they win E3? I don't think so. I'm going to leave the big three for the end. The next is Ubisoft. You know what? There was a point when I was watching Ubisoft's press conference that I said it's possible Ubisoft could win. They had no BS. They had no stupidness. They had nothing but games, and they had some good announcements. Hats off to Ubisoft. I think you guys did phenomenal. Enough to win? For me personally, I don't think so. Microsoft and Sony. Okay? I thought they did good, but I don't think they blew it out of the park. I was happy with Microsoft, and I was happy with Sony. I really want to be blown away with Sony. I didn't even hear any word of The Last of Us 2. I mean, come on now. And I understand why they didn't. They're probably waiting for the PlayStation experience at the end of the year. We still got Gamescom coming up, you know. And I know that if there's nothing that dramatically improved or added to the game, they're not going to talk about it. I get it. I know this game is way far out. Trust me, I know it. I've accepted it. I was happy to hear about the God of War coming out early 2018. I know there were rumors that people were saying, oh, it could come out this year. BS. I knew that wasn't, no way. They would have won E3 right there, though, if they said God of War's coming out this year. I'm like, whoa. But I don't think that they blew it out of the park, and I'm happy about the VR announcements. I am. Sony, hats off. I'm so happy that you know, telling the customers that their purchase was valid, that, you know, don't worry, PlayStation VR is still relevant, it's coming. Awesome. Because there was some scumbag that was working at GameSpot. I don't want to say his name. I don't like him, and I really don't like him now. And I have nothing against anybody, and there's a reason why. First of all, he's a fucking idiot, and he was at the pre-show, and he's already, first of all, he talks with, like, shit in his mouth, okay? The second thing is, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't know why he's there. I don't know how he gets hired, okay? I could school him with information that would blow his mind, and it's his profession. He's a professional gaming journalist. And he talks like, bleh, bleh. He has no motivation in his voice, and everything he says is like, I want to hang myself. Well, I don't really like the PlayStation VR. Please say PlayStation VR should just go. It should just go. I don't want to see any announcements for it. Speak for your fucking self. You know what? I wish that Sony just announced like 100 games for the VR just to piss him off. So I'm glad he got it up his ass. Good for you, Sony. But he didn't like nothing. I didn't like Microsoft's press conference because I think that it sucked. Nintendo really didn't show much. I don't think, you know, Sony really did anything. But, you know, I'm here. I'm covering it, and the people would die for this job. But I'm here because I can, and I'm in gaming journalism, and I'm just a big fucking bore. Get lost. Why? You don't like PlayStation VR because your stomach is queasy. I remember when he was talking about that a while ago. I can't play this because of my stomach. Go take pills or something. Some of these people are like, I even wrote them on Twitter. I mean, I'm not ashamed. I went up to him and I said, you know, life ain't that bad, buddy. Maybe you should smile a little. You should be very lucky that you're covering E3 for a big gaming journalist. I would die for the job. But, you know, us little guys on YouTube, we suck. So anyway, that's that. So yeah. So in my personal opinion, I think Nintendo won E3. And it's funny too because people give me shit for this. Oh, you're just a fanboy. I already explained that. And you know what? Okay, so they're not on stage. They're not, you know, spending money on these big productions. It's all about the announcements. It's all about the games. It's quick. It's easy. It's fast. Done. They do the treehouse. They show everything announced at the treehouse, or at least most of it. They had some great announcements. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Yoshi. I'm a huge fan of Kirby. My Metroid Prime 4 announcement is the biggest announcement of E3. Face it. They won E3 last year. And they came to E3 with one freaking game, and they won it with Zelda. And guess what, guys? Zelda came out and was a masterpiece. In every single conference last year, Zelda blew the shit out of all the games that wound up coming out after E3 last year. Zelda was a masterpiece. All the talk of our game does this didn't amount to shit. Nintendo came out, one game, one E3. I think they did it this year with just everything that they talked about, you know? Stuff coming out for the Switch. And not only just stuff that was talked about at the Direct, but other conferences that talked about stuff coming out on the Switch, like that whole Star Child thing or whatever with the ships, and you know, Skyrim having Link and Zelda accessories in Skyrim on the go. Oh man, there's a ton of stuff that was announced at Nintendo's Direct that I'm pumped for. I can't wait for Splatoon 2 to come out. I got my ARMS pre-ordered. So yeah, I think Nintendo did a really good job. Hats off, Nintendo. You've come a long way. Don't listen to these idiots that say, "Oh no, you gotta have a stage show." Blah blah blah. None of that. You don't need none of that. The big end. Reggie's in his house. Reggie came out basically in his living room in his underwear. And then all these corporate guys are coming out on stage and doing these big stage productions. And meanwhile, Reggie's got this freaking tuxedo walking around in his living room. The guy don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? He's awesome. I also invited him to my wedding. I'll have to show you. And he actually wrote back that he couldn't because of E3. And he actually signed the freaking thing and wrote a note why he's not coming. It's in my fucking vault, my Nintendo vault. That's the shit right there. That's the shit. I got a letter from Miyamoto congratulating me. That's awesome. Nintendo, they're class act people, and I love them. That's why Nintendo won E3. Until next year, I will see you guys again for E3 coverage. Take care, everybody.